In Benin, security forces fire automatic weapons to disperse demonstrations against last Sunday's parliamentary election.
South Africa's Electoral Commission is poised to deliver one of the most significant elections since 1994, when white minority rule ended. The stakes are especially high in this poll as many South Africans, especially blacks, complain that 25 years after political freedom was won, economic freedom has remained elusive. The ruling African National Congress is hoping to win over 60% of the vote and deliver a strong mandate to President Cyril Ramaphosa, while opposition parties such as the Economic Freedom Fighters are hoping to gain more ground.
As ANC so far, we are happy with the state of readiness of the IEC. We had an opportunity through our party liaison committee to be part of the preparations for these particular elections, including when the Results Operations Center was launched last week. We were here. So far, we are happy and confident that the IEC will deliver free and fair elections.
To conduct the exercise, the Commission has trained almost 200,000 polling officials and printed up to 60 million newly designed ballot papers.
We plan for elections with a view to release the results. And when we release the results, that's the only thing we do. We do not preempt whether there's a loss or there's a change in government. There has been changes in government also in the country, in the province of KZN and the province of the Western Cape.
But the opposition Democratic Alliance told Africa News that its agents had reported shortcomings with the delivery of polling materials in some areas.
The Electoral Commission has done everything possible to demonstrate its readiness to deliver a credible election. It has the support and the confidence of most political players, including the political parties themselves. But the true test will be on election day, as we will be watching to see whether the voting goes on smoothly and ultimately whether the results they declare will reflect the will of the South African people. Now, African News will be here to give you all the stages of the voting, the results as they are being counted and as they are being declared, and ultimately you will decide whether the Electoral Commission in South Africa did its job.
Kirk Fraser, one of 3 police officers involved in the fatal shooting of Sheldon Junior Biggs Daly in Chedwin Park, St. Catherine recently, is now in police custody. The corporal, in the presence of his attorney, Valerie Nita Robertson, turned himself into the police on Sunday after being on the run since the incident, which took place on Saturday, April 27th. Fraser reportedly escaped from the custody of another police officer who was responsible for taking him to the hospital after the shooting. He, along with the other 2 police officers, were on suspension from the Mobile Reserve.
The Freewinds docked at Point Seraphin Berth on Tuesday, April 30th. The ship, said to be owned and operated by the Church of Scientology, has been visiting St. Lucia since 1988, but this week's call sent health officials scrambling after reports that one person on board had measles. Chief Medical Officer Dr. Marlene Fredericks James says health officials decided to quarantine the vessel after confirmation of the highly infectious disease.
This decision to quarantine the ship is in keeping with the health laws of St. Lucia. Our epidemiological investigation aboard the ship has verified that the confirmed case, as well as other crew members, are presently stable, but remain under surveillance by the ship's doctor. Continued surveillance is necessary, as the incubation period for measles ranges from 10 to 12 days before symptoms in exposed persons occur.
The CMO says the Health Ministry is providing support to the ship. This includes the donation of 100 doses of the measles vaccine. She says St. Lucia is also consulting with leading health bodies on the way forward.
St. Lucia's public health response is being coordinated with other local agencies and partners, and we remain in discussion with regional and international health agencies such as the Pan American Health Organization PAHO and the Caribbean Public Health Agency CARPHA.
Health officials in St. Lucia are not taking any chances where the infectious virus is concerned, as many countries are currently battling large measles outbreaks.
Measles is spread through droplets from the nose or mouth of infected persons when they cough or sneeze, and sometimes even during speaking. Early symptoms include high fever, runny nose, red eyes, and tiny white spots on the inside of the mouth. A rash may then develop, starting on the face and upper neck, and then spreading throughout the body. Measles can be particularly severe in young children who are not immunized.
The chief medical officer says measles can be prevented by full immunization. She is reminding the public that the measles vaccination is available locally, free of charge. Joachim Duplessis, HDS News Force.
With permission granted by the local authorities, the ExxonMobil company has announced that it has funded the Liza Phase 2 development offshore Guyana. According to the company, Liza Phase 2 will produce up to 220,000 barrels of oil per day and further capitalize on the significant development potential of the Stabroek Block. ExxonMobil has indicated that it estimates producing more than 750,000 barrels of oil per day by 2025. The president of ExxonMobil said with the governments of Guyana and the partners, Exxon is bringing in industry-leading upstream capabilities to build upon Phase 1 and further develop a shared value of Guyana's resources. He said the company is actively pursuing significant development potential from numerous discoveries in the Stabroek Block offshore Guyana. The company said the Phase 2 startup is expected in mid-2022 and will develop approximately 600 million barrels of oil. Already the company is preparing for first oil at its first development in the Stabroek Block. Oil production is set to begin by early 2020. The head of the Department of Energy, Dr. Mark Bino, spoke about the latest development today.
The Department of Energy and the Guyana Geology and Mines Commission Petroleum Division, together with its external consultant Bayphase, conducted an in-depth review of the Liza Phase 2 field development plan submitted by Exxon Exploration and Production Guyana Limited. The development plan basically will utilize a development concept similar to the Liza Phase 1, where it will be utilizing subsea wells and a floating production, storage and offloading vessel. It will produce up to 220,000 barrels of oil per day, with a total of 6 drill centers planned, as well as approximately 30 wells.
The Exxon company has already discovered more than 5.5 billion barrels of oil in the first development offshore Guyana. More.
It was an opportunity for people to let loose and have fun, whether it was on the road march or one of various concerts held this weekend. But those involved in the Bahamas Carnival say the economic impact of the event, first held back in 2015, have been significant, and that the carnival is growing. Costume designer for Bahamas Masqueraders, Carlos Bain, says the event is attracting more international visitors, and the money they spend is trickling down. Masqueraders and other bands like Charisma also make money during carnival season and produce costumes throughout the year for people looking for a costume when they are hosting special events. Now he says the potential for carnival and the economic impact is limitless.
It does help the economy in some ways, in most ways, and once it's marketed properly, because you'll find out that our cruise line customers, they are increasing every year. Persons from abroad internationally, they are increasing every year. So a lot of persons buying more into it, and with international guests coming over here, it also helps the economy in terms of airline tickets, hotels, sales, taxi drivers, and help with tours, because they don't only come just on that day of carnival, they also here for a few days before, maybe some few days after, so they get to enjoy the whole climate, the atmosphere, and the Bahama land itself.